Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a great day today. I can't believe it, gin's in the basket, sleeping on top of pineapple toy. I hope you have a good time today everybody, and I hope it's not too horrifying, but we'll see. Am I the a-hole for stopping my boyfriend's proposal at our best friend's wedding? I, female 26, and my boyfriend, male 25, attended a mutual friend's wedding. They're very close friends to us and they brought my boyfriend and I together. My boyfriend and I are coming up on our 3-year anniversary and things are getting pretty serious. Enough so that I very much wanted to marry him. He's sweet, chatty, typically considerate and empathetic. He's the person who I thought was the first to show me what a truly healthy and compassionate relationship was like, and he's very serious about us too. We've had long talks about marriage and it seemed that we were in agreement. We even got as far as looking at rings. So the chance of a proposal was more of a when, not an if. A few weeks before the wedding, us and the engaged couple at the time were hanging out. The topic of weddings was of course very prevalent, and my boyfriend had cracked a joke about proposing at our friend's wedding. The to-be groom joked back and said that'd be funny as hell, and that was followed by me and the to-be bride both shutting it down, trying to be serious but also not thinking that he was being serious. He was. Well, he's definitely in the wrong then. Unless everybody was okay about it happening, then he shouldn't have done it, but he still did it anyway. During the reception, everybody had made their speeches and people were getting their food. While our table was waiting, my boyfriend went up to the DJ and they played my boyfriend and I's favourite song to scream sing in the car together, Story of My Life by One Direction. I look at him smiling and he's looking around. All of a sudden, he grabs a fork, stands up and begins to clang it on the glass. Immediately, the whole dining room looks over. I stand up and I whisper the words, "Not right now." His face drops and he yells a mix of, "I'm sorry, I was only joking." After he sat back down, I verbatim said, "Let them have their moment. Let's not make this our own." And he wouldn't even look at me. When it was time to get our food, he immediately goes towards the exit. I follow and I tried to catch up to him, but I couldn't find him. I text him twice and I call him a couple of times, but no answer. So I went back to the reception. What did he expect? You and the bride both said that you didn't want this to happen. But what, he's surprised about this now? After not hearing from him for about an hour and a half, he returns, sits down, and doesn't even look at me. Wow. The rest of the night was terrible. He looks like his dog just died, and I'm trying to make the best of the night. But I felt like I was in his shadow. I was prepping for a breakdown or maybe a fight in the car, but the only thing he said was, "I don't want to talk about it right now." And the drive was super quiet and super awkward. He sent me a long text about how hard it was to get the ring, how he felt rejected by his closest person, and that I embarrassed him. Bro, you embarrassed yourself. You knew that OP didn't want you to propose at their wedding. What did you expect? I tried to explain that it's not that I didn't want to marry him, but it was our best friend's wedding and they deserved their moment. That we should create our own and not be piggybacking off theirs. He got offended and said that if I wanted to marry him, I wouldn't have stopped his proposal in front of everybody. This situation perplexes me. I've never seen the appeal of proposing at somebody else's wedding, and I tried to handle it in a way that I felt was calm and chill, but he's so adamant that I ruined the proposal, made him seem like an a-hole, and thus that I'm the a-hole. Should I admit that I was wrong and have let the proposal go at our friend's wedding? Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. The bride-to-be is one of your best friends and was not down with your man proposing at her wedding. Who cares if the groom thinks it would be funny? It's a 2 yes type situation from the married couple. Yeah, what did he expect? Oh yeah, my friends are getting married and I want to propose to my partner at their wedding. My partner doesn't want me to, and the bride also doesn't want me to, but I'm gonna do it anyway and then get upset at my partner. And OP embarrassed him? Bro, you embarrassed yourself. You knew that you shouldn't have done this. And then getting all angry and disappearing for an hour and a half and acting like OP's in the wrong. The second top comment says, not the a-hole. It was bad taste for him to propose at the wedding. It would have been unfair to the bride and the groom, not to mention tacky. He needs to get over it and move on. Out of all the possible scenarios to propose, he chose the worst option. You did the right thing by stopping him. No one knew that he was going to propose, so he shouldn't even feel embarrassed. And OP said, I did try to tell him that. Our friends, the hosts, weren't even that mad after I explained the situation. They just said thank you for stopping him. And nobody else really said anything about it. Yeah, in the comment below that one too, not the a-hole. He's not as empathetic as you think. And the one below that says proposing at somebody else's wedding is incredibly rude. You saved him from embarrassing himself. If he can't be an adult about this and keeps on sulking, you have some thinking to do. The fact that he thought that it was alright to do it in the first place is a huge red flag. Yeah, OP and the bride said not to do this, but he still did it anyway. And then what, he's the victim? The comment below that says, number one, the bride said said not to do that. Number 2, you said not to do that. Number 3, he didn't ask them any permission. Number 4, he's selfish. Take a good hard look at his behavior. Is he the bride at every wedding and the corpse at every funeral? What he attempted was incredibly wrong, and you did the right thing. Show him this post, not the a-hole. Yeah, in the comment below that, number 5, he played as the victim. Yeah, that's so wild. Like, oh my god, exactly what I should have expected to happen happened. Like, how did he not see this coming? Post number 2, am I the a-hole for not selling my neighbor a thrifted rocking chair that I just bought? I honestly have no words. I, 27, just bought my house in July 2024. We've learnt that most of the neighbors are old as hell. I think these neighbors are 60s plus. I don't think I'd consider 60s old as hell. Old as hell is like 99. I think of like a vampire in a crypt or something, not somebody in their 60s. And they're also very nosy and ornery that young families are moving into the neighborhood in recent years. They'll walk up to you and tell you this: I've been shopping thrift and estate sales to furnish my cute house. This morning I came home from an estate sale with a beautiful wing-backed rocking chair. It does need to be reupholstered as the leather that was on it is in terrible condition and the previous owner started to pull it off. I'm unloading it from the bed of my truck when neighbor Carol sticks her giraffe neck over the fence and starts squawking about how beautiful it is. I said thanks, I got it at an estate sale for $10. This triggered the parasites in her brain and she, I shit you not, teleported over to the truck. She starts going off about how much she needs a chair to rock her grandkids to sleep in and how much she would appreciate it if it were hers. I told her that I got it for my future babies to be rocked to sleep in and that it still needs a lot of work before it can be used. Mind you, this chair's large and she's super small. This is when she starts offering me money. $15 because it's more than what you paid for it. Then telling me that I don't need it because I don't have kids yet and that her grandkids are only little for so long. After I firmly told her that I wasn't interested in selling it, she offered me $20. I was standing in the bed of the truck looking down at her on the driveway and I firmly said, "No, Carol, I'm really not interested in selling this. Please go home." And I pointed to her side of the fence. Apparently that was shouting at her and being aggressive. She ran home and later in the day her husband said something to my husband, telling him I spoke to her like a dog and was being a nasty neighbor and that my husband needs to straighten me out. Okay, that bit's wild. My husband needs to straighten me out? Bro, excuse me? Are my neighbors nuts? Was I that rude to her? I tried to attach a photo of the chair, but I can't attach it on this community. Edit, I meant no offense when I said old as hell. I know that 60 is only halfway through a lifetime. I was trying to paint a picture of who the neighbors are. There's something really wrong with the folks in the cul-de-sac. Yeah, like this comment says, your husband needs to straighten you out. That alone would cause me to never speak to either of them again. And the one below that says, definitely nutty neighbors. You're good, not the a-hole. Yeah, the comment below that, not the a-hole about the chair. But I'm laughing at 60 plus being old as hell. And OP said, okay, I guess not that old, but the lead poisoning really got to this bunch. Okay, maybe he's gonna stay. No, he's definitely not. I shall go feed him. The next one, am I the gay hot for telling my husband that I'll divorce him after finding croutons in our baby's formula? Croutons. This morning, I, 31 female, woke up to find my husband, 43 male, not in our bed. I figured that he fell asleep on the couch like he often does after drinking. I was slightly annoyed because he is responsible for bringing the baby monitor into our room with him, since he stays up a lot later than I do. Since he didn't come into our room, the baby monitor never did either, and our 9-month-old is getting over an ear infection and has been waking up crying once a night, and I can't hear that without the monitor, as both doors are shut and I have a fan running. As I made the baby's bottle this morning, I opened the pantry to find a bag of croutons I made inside the formula, with a few croutons loose in the formula and the top to the formula gone. I became instantly furious. For context, before we had our kids, a toddler and the infant, my husband said that he'd stop drinking once we had kids. When I was pregnant with our first, I'd wake up to a loud noise and I'd walk out to find my husband passed out on the floor, being so intoxicated that he fell asleep on a chair sitting up and then fell onto the floor and still didn't wake up. This happened at least 3 different times. Since then, I found him passed out on the couch several times and passed out in the toilet a handful of times. On New Year's Day, we had a serious talk about him needing to slow down and stop drinking, as I was at my wit's end. I told him that if we had to have this talk again, it'd be a much different talk, and since then I found him on the toilet at least once, and 6 weeks ago I woke up one morning thinking a homeless person was going through our cupboards. There was lettuce all over the kitchen, a cereal bag seemed like somebody chewed through it to open it, and then poured a bowl onto the floor, and I found my raincoat soaking up a random mess in the entryway. I'm I'm not joking when I say that I checked the security cameras thinking that somebody broke in. He tried to blame it on the 2-year-old, but the folded up cereal box was a dead giveaway. So yeah, that brings me to today. He told me that he had 2 drinks and didn't know how he ended up in the guest bedroom or why he thought it was our bed. But the guest bed didn't even have any sheets or pillowcases on it. Then finding the croutons was really the tipping point. I confronted him and I told him what I found. And I said there's no way that he only had 2 drinks and then ended up doing this. He's 6'4", 265 pounds. He swears it's all he had, and I told him that if he doesn't stop drinking, I'm filing for divorce. He went to work and we finally just talked after the kids went to bed. He said that I'm overreacting, that he doesn't have a problem, and that it's not fair to give him that ultimatum. I told him it's my life too, and I don't have to stay in a marriage where I don't like the level of drinking, especially with 2 young boys. I agree I could have waited until tonight to have a better talk, but I feel like he needs to know how serious I am in order for him to make a change. Otherwise, I'm keeping my word and I will file. So, am I the a-hole? This comment says, you the a-hole if you stay with him. He's endangering your kids. The top comment says, boundaries only work if they're enforced. When are you going to put actions to your words? Number 1, he said that he would stop drinking when you got pregnant. He didn't. Number 2, you asked him to stop drinking because you were at your wit's end. He didn't. Number 3, you told him that if you had to have the talk again, it would be a more serious talk, but then you find him 2 more times having been drunk as Now he's lying about his drinking and trying to blame your children for his behavior. So when are you going to enforce the boundary that you set? You're not following through, so he has no reason to change. He's an alcoholic and he's not at a place where he can admit that. He's lying about his drunk behavior, lying about how much he drinks, and now he's downplaying a very serious situation to gaslight you into believing that he's fine and trying to make you feel guilty for pointing out his drinking problem. He does have a problem. People only drink regularly until they pass out like that if they're an alcoholic. He can't admit that he has a problem because then he'd feel obligated to do something about it. You can't change him or force him to change himself because then he'll try to hide it from you. Ask yourself, do you love him and want him in your life? And do you want him in your children's life as the person that he is right now? Or do you feel like his behavior makes you and your kids unsafe in your own home? If you can't accept his alcoholism, then you need to leave him for the sake of yours and your kids' mental health and well-being. Being raised by an alcoholic is traumatizing, and it takes a long-term toll on both the children and the partner that's putting up with it. Don't set yourself on fire to keep everybody else warm. It never works out. Source: a person raised by an alcoholic parent. Yeah, for sure. And the comment below that says separate now. Let him sort out his drinking. Your baby's not safe in this household, and you don't need all the extra work of cleaning up after your drunk husband. If he can't sober up convincingly, then divorce. And the comment below that says your husband's an alcoholic who refuses to admit it or get help. He's endangering your children. At this point, you would be the a-hole if you stay with him. The next one: am I the a-hole for not being intimate with my husband after he said that he misses my pre-pregnancy body? So I gave birth around 2 months ago. I'm up a bit more than 10 pounds from my pre-pregnancy weight. I'm in constant pain. I'm barely getting any sleep. I'm still recovering. I've been easing back into the gym this past week. My husband and I were showering after having horizontal mumbo, and while feeling me, he said that he misses my body, and he said that I used to look so sexy in clothes and lingerie before. Oh bro, what? 2 months ago OP gave birth. I went quiet, I finished my shower, and I went to check on the baby. I brought it up later that hurt me, and I'm self-conscious and I'm trying. He shrugged and said, it's true. Oh my god, what is he doing? I cried in my car after my workout. He doesn't even work out and he eats garbage. I've been feeling really down about my body since his comment, and I've pulled back from intimacy for a few days. He says I'm weaponizing horizontal mumbo. No, they're not. Why the hell would they want to be intimate with you, dude? But I'm having a hard time with how I feel about myself right now. Am I the a-hole? No. Your husband is being an awful partner. Yeah, the top comment: 2 months after you give birth, you're barely even approved for horizontal mumbo from your doctor, let alone physically even recovered. Your husband's an a-hole. I'm sorry you married a crappy man. The comment below that says he shrugged and said, it's true. That a-hole had the nerve to put his foot in twice. Has he no filter? What a selfish a-hole. I can't even understand wanting to have horizontal mumbo 2 months after birth. Your husband should be ecstatic that you even feel like being intimate at all. And you're not weaponizing horizontal mumbo. You've rightly so gone off your husband. Yeah, is there a bigger turnoff? I don't think so. Of course you don't want to be intimate with him. Yeah, selfish a-holery is such a turnoff and so unattractive. Why does he even want horizontal mumbo if your body's all of a sudden so very unattractive? Which I'm 100% sure that it isn't. He did that to himself. And now he throws a pity party without feeling the need to apologize to you. Not like an apology out of his mouth would be believable at this point. I sincerely hope this is rage bait. Yeah, in the comment below that, if he claims that you're weaponizing patronizing horizontal mumbo, tell him that you miss his pre-pregnancy personality. If he gets upset about it, shrug and tell him, well, it's true. This guy's audacity is f***ing stunning. You change your body to grow and birth his child, and he has the nerve to complain about 10 pounds or so. I'd never f*** him again. That's some divorce-worthy entitlement right there. OP, if he doesn't wake up and realize how awful he's being, leave him. He crossed so many lines here, and the audacity is unbelievable, and he never even apologized. Yeah, that one's infuriating. The disrespect. The next one, am I the gay of not splitting the inheritance when I was the only one who took care of our hoarder mother? I, 34 female, was the only one out of our 4 siblings who stayed in contact with our mum after our dad died. She became a full-on hoarder. The kind where the house smelt like ammonia, dead mice under piles of trash, actual mold on the walls. Everybody else cut contact. They said it was too much for their mental health and not how they wanted to remember her. I visited every week. I bought her groceries. I was managing her medication. I cleaned literal human waste off the floor. I fought with her when she refused help. And I watched her slowly deteriorate while they lived their own lives. When she died last year, I was the one who found her. The will left everything, the house and the savings, what little there was, to me. No lawyer and no drama, just a handwritten will saying that everything to my name, because she's the only one who's been there. I cleaned the house, I paid for it out of pocket for professional hazmat services, and I got it appraised. It's worth nearly $750,000, and now suddenly my siblings have reappeared, saying that I manipulated her, I isolated her, and that I should split it 4 ways. One of them said, you profited from her illness. I didn't profit, I lost years of my life, and I lost my peace and almost my marriage over the trauma of it all. I told them no. I said they didn't want her when she was alive, so they don't get to claim her now that she's worth something, and they're threatening to sue. I don't feel guilty, but I feel tired. So am I the gay hole? Should I split it 4 ways just so that they get off my back? No, definitely not. Yeah, the top comment, lawyer up. The comment below that one, you need to get a lawyer to get that will validated in probate court. If it's not declared valid, the estate will be divided equally between all heirs in most jurisdictions. At the least, keep your receipts for all the work done to clean it up, as you will be reimbursed before any payouts happen. Not the gay hole. And the comment below that, not the gay hole, talk to a lawyer. Your mum's wish was clearly for you to have the money and the house. Yeah, and this comment too, vultures always appear when the hard work's done. Yeah, it's so typical, isn't it? But no, of course, not the a-hole. But yeah, like that other comment said, hopefully it is considered as an actual will. The next one, am I the gay hole for considering calling off my wedding? Because my fiance refuses to sign a prenup after I found out that she has a massive credit card debt. This one does have an update too. Okay, so the original post, I'm a middle-aged man. I'm supposed to be getting married in a few months to my fiance. We've been together for 3 years, engaged for 1, and for most of that time, I genuinely believed that we were on the same page about life values, and most importantly, honesty. For background, I've worked hard to build a stable financial foundation. I'm not wealthy, but I own my home outright. I have no personal debt, and I've been saving and investing since my early 20s. It's been a priority for me, especially since my parents went through a nasty divorce, and that ruined both of them financially. About a month ago, while discussing wedding costs, I brought up a prenup. Not in a cold or controlling way. I wanted to protect the life that I've worked so hard to build. I was upfront that I'd still be fair and the agreement wouldn't leave her nothing. I expected an adult conversation. Instead, she immediately got defensive. She said stuff like, so you're already planning for a divorce? And I thought we trusted each other. I tried to explain that it wasn't about trust, it was about transparency and mutual protection, but she shut it down completely. That's when the red flag started to pop up. She became evasive every time money came up, and I started noticing weird things. Credit card offers in the mail, a few missed payments on shared expenses that she said that she'd cover, and lots of I'll handle it later energy. So I asked directly if she had any debt. She admitted it. $92,000 in credit card debt. Not student loans, not a mortgage, credit cards. She said it accumulated over the years from unexpected expenses and a few dumb splurges, but she never told me about any of it until I forced the issue. I was so stunned. We're about to merge our lives together. This woman was about to legally become my spouse, and she didn't think I deserved to know that she was 6 figures in the red. I told her this made the prenup non-negotiable for me. I need to protect myself not just emotionally, but financially. I told her I was willing to still move forward, but not without something in writing that protects my premarital assets. And then she lost it. She called me selfish, said that I was turning love into a business deal, said that my house and money should be hers too if we're truly a team. Since then, she's refused to talk about the prenup again, and we're barely speaking. Even her mother called me and accused me of humiliating her daughter and being materialistic. All I want is to not be liable for debt that I didn't create, and to make sure the life I built before this relationship is protected. So now I'm seriously reconsidering the whole wedding. Not because she has debt, but because she hid it, and then refused to take responsibility and is now treating me like the bad guy for trying to protect myself. I'm almost certain that she could pay her debt since she's a part partner in her friend's business, but she refuses to. Am I the gay hole for thinking about walking away? My final update. So I wasn't planning to come back, but a lot of people messaged me, and honestly, it's been a hell of a few days. I figured that I'd give an update. So yeah, the wedding's off. After I posted, I tried one more time to talk to my fiance, well, ex now. I told her I wasn't trying to be cold or controlling. I just needed to protect myself. I also said that if the roles were reversed, I'd completely understand if she wanted to do the same. I told her I could still move forward with the wedding if we signed a fair prenup. One that clearly said her debt is hers, and my home and my savings are mine if things go bad. I also said I'd go to therapy or counseling with her if it felt like a deeper trust issue, and she didn't take it well. Said again that the prenup was an insult, and I was pretty much planning for divorce. Then she started crying and said that I was humiliating her, and said that I was destroying everything we'd built over money. No, you're not though. You've said so many different times, I'm completely happy to move forward with the wedding, but I need a prenup to protect myself. She could be like, yeah, cool, I understand, and then everything would be fine. But what, you're destroying everything over money? I don't feel like you are. But it's not only about the money, it's about the fact that she kept a massive amount of debt hidden until she had no choice but to tell me. And even then, she only told me because I pushed for it. That's not partnership, that's avoidance. So I told her I couldn't go through with it. I called off the wedding, and it sucked. It still sucks. We told the venue we cancelled what we could, and we let people know. Her family's furious. Might have been supportive, but they're trying not to say I told you so. I've lost a lot of money on deposits, some family flying in from out of state, but honestly, that's nothing compared to what could have happened if I had ignored my gut. She moved out 2 days ago. We've barely spoken. I keep second guessing myself even now. I didn't want this, but I also don't want to wake up one day in financial ruin, wondering why I ignored every red flag just to avoid hurting somebody. Anyway, thank you for everybody who gave advice or listened. I'm heartbroken, yeah, but I feel like I did the right thing. Doesn't make it easy, just necessary. I wonder what she's telling her family. I feel like if her family knew the full picture, surely they'd understand OP's point of view. The top comment says, not the gay hole, I'm glad you found out before you got married, and I'm even more happy that you didn't push on purely as you love her. She showed you clearly that she can't be trusted, and finds no fault lying to you, that all she actually wanted was for you to be liable for her debts, and for her to get her hands on your savings so that she can keep on spending. Without respect, trust, and love, there can be no marriage. As hard as it is, she couldn't have loved you that much if she was so happy to lie and trap you with her debt. I'm so glad that you brought up the prenup, or you might never have discovered the truth. And the comment below that says 92 grand in credit card debt, not student loans, not a mortgage, credit cards. 5 grand or 10 grand is a few dumb splurges. I can't even begin to fathom 92 grand in credit card debt. Not the gay hole, you dodged a bullet. She would have destroyed you. Yeah, and she even said that your money and your house should be mine too. Very much in not the a-hole consensus. And the next one says, am I the gay hole for telling my stepdad that he's not sharing father of the bride duties with my dad at my wedding? I'm 27 female, getting married in a few months, and my dad is walking me down the aisle, and we're planning a 4-person dance with me and him and my fiance and his dad. As soon as my fiance and I decided this was what we wanted, I was upfront with my stepdad about the fact that he would not be given any father of the bride duties. I knew that he'd expect and want them, so I wanted to get on top of it so that he and my mum couldn't accuse me of blindsiding them. He's been with my mum since I was a few months old. He always saw me and my brother 29 as his kids, but we always saw dad as our only dad. There were a lot of fights that were kept from me and my brother as kids over this. My stepdad wanted dad to make space for him to do some of the dad things. My dad didn't want to give up any time or things with us that he had, since he already lost the ability to see us all the time. Mum was always presenting it like stepdad was our primary dad, but she and dad shared equal custody, and my dad did more than my stepdad. He worked extra hours when we were with mum so that he could leave early and be with us after school. He was involved in school, in extracurriculars, in our friendships, and he showed up to extracurricular events or school events, even if it was mum's time, which was allowed, by the way. That stuff was seen as anybody could come. Dad's the only one who came to everything. My stepdad's not a bad guy, but his want to be more to us than he is has left for a lot of hurt feelings on his part and frustration on ours. It's another one where I saw it coming, and I hoped that getting ahead of it would help, but he was angry at me for my decision, and for telling him. Mum's angry for both as well. They said it was humiliating him to tell him so straightforward, and to basically demote him as not father of the bride. I told him that I never demoted him because he never was father of the bride. He only wanted to be. He told me that I should have made a bunch of different decisions. Am I the gay hole? No. And also he, the stepdad, is not paying for any of the wedding or financing any part of it. This comment says not the a-hole, but it sounds like your mum is at least as responsible as he is for the friction between you and him. The one below that says not the a-hole, although he's been in your life. He's not your father. This is a special moment between you and your father. Your stepdad should be more understanding. Yeah, the stepdad's only thinking about himself. And yeah, he really should be more understanding. Like, this shouldn't be an issue. He should completely understand. And your mum also feels like you're in the wrong. You're not the a-hole, OP. Stepdad and your mum are the a-holes here, OP. They should be a lot more understanding. And also, by the sounds of it, you didn't humiliate him. Okay, the last one for today. Am I the a-hole for deciding to bury my husband with his late wife and young daughter? My husband died very recently after almost 17 years of marriage. He didn't have his wishes written down anywhere, but we talked about it in a passing one time, and he had mentioned wanting to be with his baby girl and his late wife. After he died, that came back to me when I realized that he hadn't left any written wishes. My husband's son, 31, wanted him buried with his mother and sister. My kids, 22 and 24, who my husband took on as his own because their own father is dead and was not a good person, were pretty upset by the idea. They loved my husband. To them, he was their dad. And I know he loved them too, and thought of them as his own kids too. They wanted a family grave so that there was a potential for us to be with him one day. They struggled with the idea of him going in with the family he lost, but I knew that my husband would have wanted it. I knew that was his wish, even if he hadn't stated it in a long time. So I made the decision to bury him with them. My kids were very upset by this, and my sister is angry. She feels I took my husband's son's side over my kids. No, you were taking your husband's side. She said it was especially frustrating because we'll never see him again now that my husband's dead. His son was never very happy about mine or my kids' presence in his and his dad's life. I did try and love him, but I think I always knew deep down that my husband going first would be the end of any contact between us. That's difficult, but I knew. The problem is that with my kids upset and my sister angry with me, I'm a mess of emotions, and I'm undecided on my choice. I'm questioning if I could have handled it better. Am I the a-hole? I am so sorry for your loss, OP. That is such a heartbreaking post. Yeah, the top comment. It's beautiful that you loved him enough to do that for him. Not the a-hole. I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah, in the comment below that, his burial location was something that he and I discussed, and this is what my husband requested. Not the a-hole. Okay, we need to read something wholesome. That was an unbelievable episode, and I hope you had a great time. If you did, make sure you let me know down below in the comments. And this is the first wholesome meme. He grew. Oh my god, so cute. The beautiful, mischievous little kitty cat. The picture of them as a kitten is so cute. And he grew into such a cute cat. And this one too. I spent so long prying my step-grandma's locket open, and it was 100% worth it. And it's got a photo of their dog and their cat. So unbelievably cute. That is so beautiful. And the photos are so beautiful too. What a wild episode. Oh my god. The comment of the day goes to Cat is YouTube. The fact that Vincey said sex instead of horizontal mumbo jumbo makes me think that the only reason he doesn't say it is to protect his cats from foul language. That is such a funny comment, and I never even thought about this. And also, by the way, it's a complete accident. Sometimes I do say horizontal mumbo, and then I say sex other times without even realizing. That's such a funny comment. Thank you for that comment, and thank you for the support. Make sure you look after yourself, and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every other day. Bye!